Introduction. Bangladesh facing 710 kilometers long coast to the Bay of Bengal, which contains several ecosystems that have important conservation values. As a zone of vulnerabilities as well as opportunities, this coast prone to natural disasters like cyclone, storm surge, and flood. Bangladesh located in the tropical climate zone. The coastal zone of Bangladesh covers an area of 47,201 sq.km, or 32% of the country, being the landmass of 19 districts. In Bangladesh, about 36 million people live in the coastal area, and livelihood primarily depends on agriculture, fishery, forestry, near transportation, salt farming, etc. Coastal area. Most simply, the coast can be thought of as an area of interaction between the land and the ocean. The band of dry land and adjacent ocean space, water and submerged land, in which terrestrial processes and land uses directly affect oceanic processes and uses. Fig. Coastal and Marine Environmental Zone of Bangladesh, source, Iczm. 2010. Definition of Iczm. Integrated Coastal Zone Management means a dynamic process for the sustainable management and use of coastal zones, taking into account at the same time the fragility of coastal ecosystems and landscapes, the diversity of activities and uses, their interactions, the maritime orientation of certain activities and uses, and their impact on both the marine and land parts. Article 2 of the Iczm Protocol. Defined by UK government as Integrated Coastal Zone Management, Iczm is a process that brings together all those involved in the development, management, and use of the coast within a framework that facilitates the integration of their interests and responsibilities. The objective is to establish sustainable levels of economic and social activity in our coastal areas while protecting the coastal environment. Iczm Protocol. 1. The biological wealth and the natural dynamics and functioning of the intertidal area and the land part forming a single entity shall be taken particularly into account. 2. The ecosystem's approach to coastal planning and management shall be applied so as to ensure the sustainable development of coastal zones. 3. Cross-sectorally organized institutional coordination of the various administrative services shall be required. 4. The formulation of land use strategies, plans and programs covering urban development and socio-economic activities shall be required. 5. Damage to the coastal environment shall be prevented and, where it occurs, appropriate restoration shall be effected. Objectives of Iczm. 1. The sustainable development of coastal zones by ensuring that the environment and landscapes are taken into account in harmony with economic, social, and cultural development. 2. Preserve coastal zones for the benefit of current and future generations. 3. Ensure the sustainable use of natural resources, particularly with regard to water use. 4. Ensure preservation of the integrity of coastal ecosystems, landscapes and geomorphology. 5. Prevent the effects of natural hazards and in particular of climate change, which can be induced by natural or human activities. The Iczm process. The process is structured into 5 sections representing the key stages of the Iczm process, as follows. Establishment, analysis and futures. Setting the vision, designing the future, and realizing the vision. Fig. Iczm process. Economic sectors involved in Iczm process. Fisheries, fish farming, and agriculture. Mineral and oil extraction, petrochemicals and refineries. Power generation, and industry in general. Shipbuilding, ports and marinas, tourism, airports and air transport. Governmental activities, recreation activities, military and defense, etc. Constraints for Iczm process. Legal conflicts among stakeholders. Lack of adequate legislations. Economic conflicts. Political influences. Decision-making and taking processes. Environmental challenges for Iczm process. Coastal erosion, and sediment movement. Water and air pollution and water sanitation. Population growth, tourism and recreation. Mineral extraction and overfishing. Transport congestion and urban expansion. Endangered and migrant species, and habitat loss. Iczm strategies. Strategy 1, proper management of waste, including agrochemicals and pesticides, solid waste, and sewage. Strategy 2, proper management of industrial waste. Strategy 3, increase coastal afforestation. Strategy 4, capacity building, training, awareness, research and monitoring. Strategy 5, assessment of environmental flow requirement and salinity. Intrusion. Strategy 6, establishment of central database directory and information system. Strategy 7, ensure preparedness to address man-made or natural disasters. Importance of coastal zone area. Coastal zone contains distinctive development opportunities that can be instrumental in reducing poverty of coastal communities significantly to economic growth. Some of the opportunities are untapped and some have significant expansion potentialities. Some opportunities are below. Fish and related activities. Transport. Salt production. Forestry. Livestock. Port and related activities. Industrial development. Shipbreaking. Tourism. Coastal agriculture. Shrimp culture, etc. Iczm key to coastal development. The main principles in Iczm approach would include integration through harmonization and coordination, adoption of a process approach, linkage to national planning mechanisms, implementation through respective line agencies, CO management and participatory decision, participatory monitoring and evaluation, supporting national policy of decentralization and development of the private sector, priority setting on issues of the coastal zone, management policy, year policy, 1992 National Environmental Policy, 1992 National Tourism Policy, 1994 National Forest Policy, 1998 National Policy Safe Water Supply and Sanitation, 1999 National Agricultural Policy, 1999 Industrial Policy, 1999 Draft National Land Use Policy, 1998 Draft National Wetland Policy, 1998 National Fisheries Policy, 1999 Industrial Policy. Iczm key to sustainable management of natural resources. Land. To control unplanned and indiscriminate use of land resources. Strategies for new chars will be developed. Water. Small water reservoirs shall be built to capture tidal water in order to enhance minor irrigation in coastal areas. Rainwater harvesting and conservation shall be promoted. Agriculture. Special development programs will be taken up with a view to increasing the production of crops suitable for the coastal area with attention to maintenance of soil health. Use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides will be reduced. Salt-tolerant crop varieties will be developed and extended along with possible measures to resist salinity. Iczm key to sustainable management of natural resources. Capture fisheries. Fishers' right will be established on open water bodies for sustainable fisheries management. Livestock. Grazing land for livestock will be arranged. Facilities for livestock development will be enhanced. Facilities for rearing of poultry of different species including the local ones will be enhanced. Afforestation. Measures will be taken for afforestation in the coastal areas including newly accreted chars. Social forestry will be encouraged and extended. Energy. Potentials of area-based renewable sources of energy will be assessed. Special projects will be identified, for example power plants in the offshore islands. Conclusion. The Integrated Coastal Zone Management, Iczm, appears to be a key element for the sustainable development of these zones. However, this recent concept may not be adapted to all cases. Successful implementation is still a major challenge to the idea of Iczm. The dynamic processes that occur within the coastal zones produce diverse and productive ecosystems, which have been of great importance historically for human populations. Question 1. What is Iczm? Objectives of Iczm. 2. Write down the protocol of Iczm. 3. Write down the steps of Iczm process. 4. What is the constraints of Iczm process? Describe the key points of